Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Michael with RC Crawling. We are doing something a little different today. We are waiting for our $30 a week budget to build up so we can afford the next parts. I've already got sitting here, but don't tell anybody we cheated a little bit. Today we're going to be looking at the KEI truck and making a wooden flatbed. I took the edges off the body, turned it into a flatbed. Let's dive into the video and take a look at how this came together. All right, here we are with the KEI truck. Not actually sure if that's how you say that. Is it supposed to be pronounced as a word like Kai or K? KEI? I don't know. Here we are with the truck. We're going to start working on a wooden bed. So I'm going to start by just measuring the bed with my calipers. 86.5 millimeters is what we're working in. And well, that's going to be more difficult to measure. By, let's see, 128. We'll do 129. Just because I think this goes in a little further than where I measured on the outside. So now that we've got our measurements, I've got this really long piece of balsa wood. It's thin. Got it at Hobby Lobby. It is 1/8 by 4 by 36 inches. And what I'm going to do is cut it to fit. So a little bit of trimming. We'll have balsa wood to fit it down inside the bed. And there'll be a surprise after that. So I'm going to cut the balsa wood, get it fitted, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now this is what I've got now that I've cut the balsa wood to fit the back of the bed. So I've got one piece, had to notch it here on either side due to these little supports for the cab. And now it sits in there. So eventually, the ultimate plan, I will glue this down. If you prefer, you can just work with the balsa wood. I'm going to continue to do more, but you could just stain and draw on this to make it look like it's boards. Just draw lines down it. You could burn it with a lighter or torch, make it look aged. But I'm going to continue to work on this, make it a little bit different. So I will go grab the materials. I'm going to pre-cut what I'm going to work with to fit this, but I will talk about what we're working with. I will meet you back here in just a minute. Okay, here's our next material. This is red oak veneer. I cut it, just laid it upside down and cut a little larger than our piece for the bed. And I am going to wrap these edges over when I glue it down. So then we'll have a nice red oak bed on top. And this came from a roll of red oak veneer. Ordered it from Amazon. $12, $20, something like that. Got a whole lot of it, so I can do a whole lot more of this. Very paper thin. And I just used my little X-Acto knife to cut it. So I'm going to glue this onto here, wrap the edges, and I will show you what that's going to look like after I get it completed. Checking in part way of getting this veneer glued down. I was going to use wood glue, but it was all dried up, so I'm using E6000. It is leaking pushing through the wood grain. So I'm going to need to clean this up. Once it dries, I'll probably sand it lightly to try to get the glue off that's leaked through the wood grain. But underneath, I am wrapping this veneer around it. And I'm just putting a bead of E6000 along here, spreading it real thin. I've already cut the corners of the veneer so I can wrap it easily. So once you put the glue on, you can wrap it over and then just a piece of painter's tape to hold it until it dries. So I'm going to keep working on this, and I will check back in after we've got all the sides glued down and it's all dry. Now we're going to stain our bed, let the glue dry. I've got the bed taped to a paint stick. So we've got the red oak veneer glued on, wrapped around the sides. We're going to use this Minwax red oak stain. Spontaneous combustion. That's very exciting. So we're just going to wipe this on with an old t-shirt sleeve for a rag. I'm going to pop this can open and we will start working on this. Alright, I'm just going to dip our rag into the stain. And we just wipe it on. I have no idea how much to use. So if I don't like this, I've got enough material to start over. I have no idea how the painter's tape is not holding as strong as I would like. Just trying to push off this underside, not so important. Just really wanting to get the edges, because some of the edges show when it's installed in the truck. I don't know how the E6000 glue seeping through this is going to affect it. That's essentially all we're doing. Wipe the stain on here. I'm going to let it sit for 5 minutes and then come back with a clean paper towel and wipe the stain off, and we'll see what the results are. Just like that, it's been 5 minutes. It's a little blotchy where the glue seeped through. That's fine, I don't care. Just using this paper towel and just gonna wipe off excess stain. If you want a darker finish, leave your stain longer. If you want a lighter finish, shorter, or even use a lighter color stain than I have. I'm getting it all over my fingers, so use gloves if that's an issue for you. Well, I'm going to continue wiping this down real good, and I'll show you the results. There it is in the truck. I'm going to let it dry before we move on to the next steps. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. Alright, this is dried as long as I can stand it. Probably 4 hours. Good enough. Indigo is helping. Indigo, can you say hello? I've got you on a tripod. I can't really... Rather, I've got you on a floor lamp as a tripod. Anyways, we've got our... Come on, focus. Guitar fret wire that we're going to use for metal dividers. I've already planed this out. I'm going to have 6 of these metal runners, dividers. I don't know what they're called. So I'm dividing my bed into 7 portions. The measurements divided by 7 is 1 runner every 12.4 millimeters. They're going to be 127.5 long. And then we will get these installed. I'm going to go ahead and mark and cut these off camera. I'm just using a pair of tin snips. It'll slice through these real super easy. So I'm going to mark these up and get these cut. I have cut a few of these runners. I've got this one marked. I've never worked with fret wire before. I've got these big beefy tin snips. Even with these, it takes a bit to cut through it. So you're going to want, if you're going to want to work with these supplies, these materials, guitar fret wire, you're going to need something sturdy to cut these with. Or you could Dremel it. I'm using the snips. It's working okay for me. All right, I've got all my runners cut. I went ahead and divided and marked this up. Probably can't see it very well on camera. I am going to now use my little knife to score this. So I'm just going to barely stick the blade out. I don't want to go very deep. I don't want to cut this in half or into strips, essentially. So I'm just going to score it. I'm going to use a straight edge, make sure I don't accidentally follow the grain and go off path. And then we're going to push these into the score mark with some glue on it. And this should be finished up. So I'm going to make all my scores real quick and then check back in and we'll start gluing in our runners. What I've found so far is my tiny little knife cut was not enough to get this push in. The balsa wood is so soft and spongy that it just kind of collapses instead of letting this fret wire really grab and punch down into that slot. So I've got this little saw making a little bit wider of a cut for it to get it to sit down, still being careful not to go too deep, and just really kind of following that first score mark. You get balsa wood dust, Q-tip wipes it right off. And now you've got a little bit of a channel to seat this in. It's a little bit of a challenge to get it to sit right the whole length of it without rolling on its side. So I am going to get some glue on this and glue this first one into place. And I think this is going to have to take place in steps, doing one fret wire at a time. So I'm going to work on that and meet you back here when I've got it all finished. We're back. I've got all the guitar fret wire installed on the bed. I don't know if this will focus. There we go. I did some real hack job of a Dremel bevel on the ends of these, some of these better than others, just to give it a more finished look. This is a 10-foot job, so from 10 feet away on the rocks, this will look amazing. Let's pop it in and see how she looks. Put it up here. I'm going to take you off the mount. Well, here's our finished stained, veneered, and metal runner bed for the KEI truck. I think that looks pretty cool. It's dusty. It's got the stupid Q-tip dust all over it. So I'll clean it up some before I call it completely finished. My plan for this is to use the Komodo, Furatech Komodo motor, rear facing and with a cutout either in the back of the cab or in the bed, and probably cut out for a shock tower. So I may be doing some Dremel work to the fret wire to get those holes where I need them. But I'm going to leave that until the final moments of mounting this body on the chassis to figure that out, if it's necessary and where the holes will go. But overall, pretty cool. I think it's a good look. It is heavy, so if you care about that, maybe skip the fret wire. I'm pretty pleased with that for a first attempt. I made that bed a couple months ago. I've been slowly accumulating parts. I had the stock axles already with the red rear diff cover. I'm going to use those axles along with the Trial wheels and DJ Crawler tires. Still haven't decided on a chassis, but just balancing the body on top of the axles and tires right now to give an idea of how it's going to look once we make progress assembling it. We're going to assemble and focus on this truck after we finish the C10 upgrades, but just wanted to get this out to show you how it's coming along. I hope this has been helpful for people on some of the scale details that you can create on your own for your trucks. If you made it all the way to the end, thanks for watching. Leave a comment. What do you think of this? Have you done anything different that worked? Always enjoy reading through all the feedback. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all those things. And I hope to see you again soon in the next video. In the next video, we're going to go back to the C10. We're going to do a motor swap and upgrade and install an external ESC. And I think that's really going to get us set up so we can start adding some more weight and doing the rest of the mods that I've got planned for the C10. So I hope to see you again soon.